Now that we've done the strengthening question, the sufficient assumption, pseudo-sufficient assumption, and necessary assumption, I want to offer a quick theoretical overview that connects all 4 question types, where you can think of it as a strengthening superset question types. Remember now, in each of these question types, you will have been given an argument already in the stimulus, meaning already there will be a premise, already there will be a conclusion, already there will be some support structure of whatever degree of strength, pre-existing strength. And I've said that typically it's not great, right? But it's also not horrendous. Typically the support structure will just be, somewhere over here. Okay, maybe it's over here. Okay, maybe, sometimes a little bit better, right? But it'll live somewhere in this space. And our job is to supply an answer choice that affects this existing support structure by moving it, right? By moving it in this direction, in this leftward direction. And that's true, okay? Generally speaking, that's true for all of these, for the strengthening superset. And the run-of-the-mill strengthening question is the one that, is most laissez-faire, the least nitpicky, shall we say. As long as you move the support somewhere in this direction, anywhere is fine. It really doesn't care. These 3 subtypes, right, they are more nitpicky. Okay, so starting with the necessary assumption, there are 2 types we talked about. The shielding type and the bridging type, right? The shielding type is to, what are you really shielding? You're just shielding against a backward slide, right? You're saying, I'm going to give you just the bare minimum to build a wall, build a shield so that the support structure doesn't get to slide backwards, right? You see, in that way, I'm helping the argument. I'm saying this is as bad as you can possibly get. This is it. You don't get to be any worse than that. Okay, and then the other type of necessary assumption, the bridging type, well, that depends on the kind of argument, but, just somewhere, it has to improve it somewhere over here. Okay, so then for the other 2 types, the PSA and essay questions, right, the sufficient assumption takes the existing support structure and lands it precisely over here, right? With the sufficient assumption, added to the argument, now the conclusion, right, the support structure for the conclusion is perfectly valid. The conclusion must follow now from the existing premises and the sufficient assumption answer choice. Okay, and PSA? Well, PSA is just less stringent about the requirement, right? PSA says, you just got to bring it somewhere over here, somewhere over here. Close enough to must be true. Maybe, must be true is also okay, but it's not a strict requirement that you have to land it here. But, as we also saw, pragmatically, sometimes it's hard to tell why. It's, sometimes hard to tell the distinction in this fine gradation of difference. So much so that for me, when I actually do PSA and essay questions, I kind of just collapse the 2 together as far as this gradation is concerned. I honestly am not even thinking about this, right? And in fact, the salient difference for me between PSA and essay questions is that PSA far more likely takes on the shape of P, C. Okay, so then the thing that I'm supplying is P arrow C. That for me is a quintessential PSA. Whereas essay questions, yes, can take this form, but is also more varied in its logical forms.